Ladies and gentlemen, how the hell are you? Jeff Kiesel with Kiesel Guitars. My very special guest, Mr. Dan Jacobs of Atreyu. And we got some cool news today. Dan, what are we doing today?
We are doing one of the greatest things that could ever happen to a human being. We are releasing my new signature guitar.
Damn. So on that note, here it is. Back in the day, I'm just going to kind of kick this off here. Back in the day, I would watch Atreyu, and I've loved Atreyu since the first time I ever heard them. And here now, to be doing this and taking a guitar that was so iconic to me, Dan's old blood ESP guitar, and now having a new version of it with its own spin, where Dan got to do the paint job himself and put his own handprints on there and have his say on it, and have this signature model for Dan is just such a monumental thing for me. It's like one of my checklist things to be able to do, and here I am doing it. So pretty stoked to make that happen. And as far as the guitar, something that Dan wanted was he wanted to allow you guys to be able to still customize it. So yeah, you can get it just like this. In fact, this is a new custom shop finish option. It's the blood finish, so it's the code for it is CSBF, custom shop blood finish. It's a $600 finish. And what we're going to be doing is for the first few of these DJ models, the DJ6, which is available on the Kiesel site right now, you guys are going to get a special treat because Dan's actually going to come down here, and for the first couple of them, he's going to put all the finishing touches on it himself to just one-up it for you fans out there. I think I'll let you talk about the model, and then I'll get into like some details about it and kind of what sets it apart. But you can kind of take it from here on the model.
The shape is a classic shape that I've loved forever, and once Jeff introduced the hyperdrive into the Kiesel lineup, I was in love. I was like, all right, like I need this guitar so bad. And to have the paint job aspect, before I had a bloody guitar, and it was kind of just drizzled over the top and stuff, and it was really cool looking, but I felt there could have been even more detail involved that made it just feel more real, in the sense that like I wanted it to look like somebody was like killed with a guitar. Not that I'm some sort of psychopath, but if you're going to go for that look, you know what I mean? If you're going to go for like a blood on guitar look, might as well make it look like it's blood on the guitar and somebody got jacked up. So, if you look really close, you can actually see the fingerprints, or I drag my fingers across it, or here, or even here, you can really see that the detail in the fingers and just the smudginess of just as if, you'd fallen on the ground after somebody beat the hell out of you and you're getting dragged across the bloody floor trying to hold on for dear life, and then they cut that chunk of the floor out and put some pickups in it and call it a Kiesel. That's basically what you have here, except even nicer than just the talk of it. It's such a beautiful guitar, and even the details of the paint job, even on the back and the neck and everything. You can see just where there's fingerprints and just smudges, and just it just looks like absolute death happened here, which is so neat looking. Having the neck through aspect too. It's for the paint job. Being able to take the paint job all the way into the neck and all the way into the headstock, it just gives this nice like flow to the whole thing, and just makes it even that much more eye candy instead of just like paint job with like raw neck or something. It's just everything, every inch of it's wild. I love having the counterweight in here. Being able to take this out if I don't want extra weight, just jam it in my room is cool. And if I want to use it live, I leave the weight in there, and you can get that balance you need, so you don't get the neck dive that you get from such a small aerodynamic body guitar. Having the push-pull on here, just an extra little bonus, so you can go from the doubles to the singles on the pickups. Gives you a couple extra options of tone. Not only just the way a Floyd works, but like the way it looks. I just love it. It's just like more stuff going on, it's just more fun, and it just makes so much more aggressive looking. There's something about a Floyd Rose and having a bar on there that just gets it that really aggressive look, which I think really complements just how aggressive the paint job is. 24 3/4 scale. It's nice and small, so you can grip it and rip it a little bit easier, which I love. Just easier playability. It's got my signature on there, the actual Dallin J signature. to kind of further signify that this is my signature model. Yeah, upside down headstock is just, it's just one of the coolest looking styles of headstock you can get. So had to be done. All the bevels and stuff in here are just, it just gives it this super sleek, kind of almost like, like a race car or something like that. Like this aerodynamic feel to it that just makes it feel like not just like a chunk of wood cut out into this shape. Like it's got like purpose and grooves and stuff to help even with the playability. I mean, you can get your hand in here a lot easier because of this cutaway right here. It just makes it that much more fun and easy to play. And like I said, you can grip it and rip it a lot easier. Yeah, the pickups, you got what, the thorium and the lithium. Thorium back here for just the ripping overdrive. It's got a super high output, which is just great for playing rock, metal, anything of the sort. But at the same time, if you want to play clean, buttery stuff, it's got that option too. It's such just a bright, great sound. And then the lithium, it's got this really full, kind of like slappy, just round, warm tone to it. It just feels really big and round, and I love that in a clean tone. I don't want something that just feels thin or I don't know, just not as robust, if you will. But yeah, it's between these two. I mean, you've got everything you could possibly want in the tone, and then you pull this up and you got 3 more options, to just kind of do something a little bit more mellow. And yeah, this is quite the beast.
That's awesome. So these guitars, as Dan is telling you, are equipped the way he's going to be playing them. So they're going to come with a maple neck, standard, black limbo body, the lithium neck, thorium bridge, the Floyd rose with a locking nut, the 24 3/4 scale, the reverse headstock, all the bells and whistles that Dan wants in his guitars. But the cool thing about this is he's allowing you guys to still further customize the guitar. So maybe you don't want a blood guitar, which is totally okay. You want a solid color. You want a flame top, a quilted top, buckeye top, all kinds of different tops that Dan has allowed us to put on his model because he thinks they're cool and wants you guys to be able to customize your own model. This is his signature look. This is his signature guitar. And he's stoked to have you guys be part of that and get that. But you might want your own signature look on his guitar. And that's a cool thing. I think that's really neat that, Dan is flexible with that. And there were things he didn't want. A couple things in particular that I can remember. You didn't want a Bloodwood fretboard. You didn't like the Purple Heart fretboard, so we pulled those out. Gold hardware, you were not feeling that. So black chrome or chrome are optional. And as far as, pickups, it's going to be the lithium and the thorium. And like Dan was saying with the pickups, the really cool thing about this guitar and with Dan is for years he played active. And while active are cool and they get you a certain sound, they're very limited. They're kind of a very narrow thing. So if you do want to pick up the guitar and noodle and not play metal, roll the volume back a little bit. You got a passive pickup and you get all that string bounce articulation, put it in single coil mode and really have a guitar that stands out. But they're like, why does that guitar sound so good, so clean, so melodic? It doesn't have to be so. Sometimes active pickups have a tendency to be a little ice picky sounding, right? And you don't have to have that sound with this guitar, and that's what's, I think, making it so flexible. Like Dan said, the counterweight in the back, and that was really something Dan, as I got the hyperdrive done, and Dan had some prototypes early on, and was like, it balances still decent, but I'd like it to balance better. And so I'm like, well, let me work on this counterweight idea. And so we kind of came up with the counterweight together. And really, Dan's the reason why I did the hyperdrive. I got to give Dan the credit on that. I've said for years, it's going to take somebody special for me to do the hyperdrive. And Dan was that special person that I needed. And I've been sitting here patient since about 2015, like, come on, man, we got to work together. Come on, man, And obviously wanted to work with him long before that, but I hadn't met him, hadn't had the opportunity. And so getting that opportunity and, coming full circle here and sitting here today is like, it's pretty surreal for me. This is a big deal. So definitely stoked on it. The model is going to come in at $19.99 and has all kinds of standard features like I just mentioned, and a lot of customization as well. So when you look at this guitar and the high quality, the blood finish is $600 on top of the $19.99, but for $25.99 to get a guitar just like this, from an American-made custom shop is pretty mind-blowing. This is something that, is kind of untouchable. And I realize there's other custom shops out there, or not custom shops, other guitar companies out there. You can buy guitars for less price, but you do get what you pay for as far as quality. And I think that's where the buck really goes a long way, is with Kiesel, because of the direct to consumer, and working direct with the artist. Letting Dan have his say on everything he wanted about this. So it's definitely a really cool thing to be sitting here and doing this and watching Dan print out the guitar, right? Put his own handprints on there, and such a fun day. What was that, about 3 weeks ago?
Yeah.
3 or 4 weeks ago. Yeah, it was really cool. So this has been a long time coming, and definitely neat. And I'm sure you guys want to ask some of your own questions, and maybe we could open up for some questions if you guys got some.
Well, one thing I want to add is that the first few are also going to get an artist picture with his signature.
That's right. Yeah, that's something that Brandon did some really good shots. Zach had this idea to include a portrait of Dan with the guitar in the paint booth. Really cool shot, by the way. And Dan's going to be signing those, and those are going to go in the first several that ship out. That's a great point. So what do we got for questions from you guys? You Atreyu fans, you Kiesel fans, you Dan Jacobs fans?
Ryan Maines, he says, question for Dan, favorite horror movie and or horror movie character?
That's a good one.
Movie. Oh man. It's not really a horror movie, but we're gonna go with The Never-Ending Story.
Dang, there you go.
Yeah. For me, when I was a kid, at least, like Gamork, the dark evil dog that was kind of like the one kind of being the voice of the nothing or whatever.
Yeah.
He was terrifying to me. That was like a terrifying thing, and there's just that whole vibe behind the way that they set him up and the way he would be introduced and stuff. And whenever he appeared, it was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So for me, especially being inspired by that movie to name our band after it. That's probably the one that stands out to me initially the most.
Dude, we should do a themed guitar after him.
A Never-Ending Story.
No, Gamork.
A Gamork guitar.
Yeah, something like real evil and scary.
Evil and darkness.
I like
Even
that.
more evil than the blood.
See, this is different though. Like something like very dark. Like sinister.
Okay.
I think he had like real blue eyes or something. Didn't he?
Yeah, really like bright colored eyes that were kind of.
I was a big fan of that movie growing up, and it, the dog scene, like freaked me out a little bit, because there was not as much shock and awe back then when we were younger. And I remember all the narration and like how he's sinking in the swamp and stuff, and like the dark and the
so much darkness.
Yeah, that is a solid movie for that. I hadn't really pegged it as that, but yeah.
Yeah, it's got really a weird way of presenting darkness, instead of just being kind of like ring ring kind of thing. It just had this more kind of mess with your emotions.
Yeah, for sure.
More of emotional
pull
darkness.
pull you in and make you feel what the character's feeling.
Yeah,
it's hard to do.
It is. Yeah.
That's a good question. What else do we got?
Richard is asking, are embedded skull fragments an option on the guitar?
If you provide them, sure.
Is this now a regular production model?
Yes, it is. Yeah, it's actually on the website now. It's on the Kiesel site. It's supposed to be, at least. I had my webmaster time it for a 3 p.m. release. And the DJ6 is on the site. And you can order it exactly as seen or customize yours.
Brian Book is asking, can you get this same blood finish but in blue?
Blue instead of the red, or blue as a base? I guess that would be the question. But I don't see why we couldn't allow some customization. You okay with that?
Yeah.
Cool.
That's awesome.
Cool.
Got a question from Jack. He's asking, is Dan going to be doing all of the Murdered Look guitars?
Not necessarily all of them, but the first batch that comes out, the first group of people that buy them, I'm going to personally come down and give my hand stamp of approval on it, and maybe drag my fingers around a little bit and kind of give it my own signature touch, if you will.
What pickups are available on this model?
lithium neck and thorium bridge. And of course, like any signature model, if you guys want to further customize it beyond what the artist has suggested to us, we do allow that. But what happens is it's non-returnable. We get the artist spec, how they really want them to be sold, and then we do have some flexibility to move a little bit, but we just say, hey, we're not going to take it back because Dan's putting his name behind it based on not just how it looks, but how it sounds. So if it doesn't have the Dan Jacobs sound, and you get it and you're like, it doesn't sound like I really thought. Well, no kidding, it doesn't have his pickups in it. So that would be something that'd make it non-returnable. We could do that for you.
Trevor Peoples, can you get a longer scale length?
Not on Dan's model.
Ray is asking, Dan, what is on your playlist and what do you draw inspiration from?
My playlist is very, very eclectic. I've been listening to this artist named Paul Coffin. He is this country artist that is just, it sounds like Johnny Cash, on cocaine in Las Vegas or something like that. It's awesome. It's super good. Or this group called the Cactus Blossoms. They sound like a reincarnation of the Everly Brothers. It's two brothers from Minneapolis that came out 2016, I think they debuted. And they just sound like the Everly Brothers. And I love old 50s, 60s kind of stuff. So, I've been listening to a lot of that stuff lately.
I missed the part about the inlays. What do you have here?
Well, they're our blood red inlays. They're our dots. And there are some options that Dan has on the model. I think we got rid of the crescent inlay. We got rid of the K. But there's like staggered, the center dots, and I think all offset to one side are what we were going to be allowing on this.
Yeah, but this one I like the red dots because it reminds me of like little drops of blood or something.
Yep. And the maple board just does it so well with there's actually a white. It's not our white. So anybody that's looking at it going, hey, I really like that, trying to go back more to like the original guitar. And that guitar was not a pure white. It was kind of an off-white. And that's what we did here. We use our regular standard classic white. And it really ties in nice with the maple board, where white would be bright, would kind of pop out, and still a cool look and have the blood over that. But this is what Dan wanted, and I think it looks fantastic.
Scott Janzer's asking, is there an order date deadline for the Done by Dan finish?
That I don't know. We'll have to just kind of wait and see. I mean, we get a big, huge influx in orders, and we know that it's going to be hard to get so many done in a certain time, then we'll kind of cut it at that. But if, I think it really depends on how many orders come in and kind of the spacing, because we don't want to make people wait is the other thing, too. We don't want people to be like, oh, I've been waiting all this extra time. So I don't know. It's a really good question, Scott.
If we can provide animal blood, can the guitar be painted with it?
No, that's not something we'll be doing. Sorry.
What do you like about the locking Floyd Rose?
When you're on stage, especially, and you're kind of running around and getting nuts and ripping into solos and doing whatnot, like stuff can move around and tuning can become an issue, especially when you have a floating bridge. So having the locking, anything that you can have locked down basically is going to help you keep that tuning while running around like a psychopath on stage. So it's just an extra tool for security to make sure tuning is not an issue.
Mike Washington, Dan, what guitarist did you look up to growing up?
Really big fan of like Brian May from Queen. I love how melodic his guitar playing is, how it's almost like his solos can be like the lead vocal almost, or the chorus or something, because they're just so singable. I love that. Or Van Halen, of course, because he was kind of like the originator of popularizing just ripping guitars. And not just that, he had his own signature guitar that he just put tape all over and just kind of made this red guitar his own. And to me, that's inspiring in itself. Like, not even just his playing, but the fact that he had so much personality in his instrumentation and the way he dressed and everything that kind of further branded what he was doing. So I really like him for that aspect of it.
Dante is asking, can I order a Kiesel Racing Green Alien Blood build?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sounds cool.
That'd be fun, yeah.
Yeah.
Is the signature model the hyperdrive with Dan's options?
Basically, yeah. It's the way Dan wanted to spec it all out. Yeah.
Christopher's asking, Dan, when will we be able to see you play live again?
Oh man, hopefully towards the end of this year. We have tentatively 2 shows in the books, 2 festivals. You know, it's just a matter if that actually can happen or not. But as of right now, they're supposed to. So, yeah, at least 2 shows this year, and then after that, everything's probably going to be 2022 is going to be where things really start happening for bands, including us.
Chris is asking, is there any more options for crazy finishes like this on Dan's model?
You know, it really be up to you guys. I mean, there's not a set like, hey, here's another crazy, you know, Dan Jacobs inspired finish. But I mean, you guys have seen the finishes we've done, and I mean, you can imagine, you know, kind of the sky's almost the limit with us. I mean, there's a lot of things we will do. There's obviously certain things we won't do, but come up with your own really crazy specs and let's build you something sick. And I'm sure Dan will be stoked on seeing those.
Yeah.
Late to the live stream, but will the blood be replicated the same on every signature model or random blood design on each guitar?
It'd be probably random to an extent, because I mean, it's
Yeah.
kind of like doing like a tie-dye or something like that. It's to duplicate this exactly, because it was so just in the moment, just me coming in, just slapping blood all over it. There'll probably be a general, you know, concept as far as how it'll go down, but everyone will be unique in that sense, which is even better. I mean, who wants to have the same thing as, you know, everybody else? You can have your guitar, you know, with your blood will be exactly the way it is just for you, which is awesome. Like that's why you go to Kiesel, you know what I mean, to get your stuff as custom as possible. So yeah, it'll look like this, but not exactly the same, just because the nature of this style of paint job.
Yeah, we'll hang one up, you know, we'll take a picture of it, blow it up, and kind of hang it in the paint booth and for some inspiration. But, you know, we don't print here, meaning, you know, some companies, they will just do a print and everybody has the same thing and they just kind of, you know, cram them out the door, where we're doing these custom, each one. They're all by hand. So yeah, they're all going to be custom and unique to you, but they're going to have that same look and feel.
Alan is wondering, why did you go with a maple fretboard rather than a rosewood?
I've kind of over the years just started getting a love for for this look, you know, especially a lot of the artists that I grew up listening to, even seen Van Halen and stuff using this kind of look and whatnot. I'm like, I don't have many guitars like that, and like I've had the same look for so many years on my other blood guitar that I wanted this one to be, you know, although, you know, as much as it's gonna have like a nod to what I was doing before, I wanted it to be its own thing. And you know, having a completely opposite, you know, color scheme when it came to the neck, that really kind of drives that home a little bit more, that this is a totally different thing.
Oliver is asking, does the neck have a tongue oil finish or is it painted?
It's all painted, and it's, I'll flip it around so you guys can see the back of it again. Yeah, it's all painted, and that's one of the standard features of the DJ is it's going to be all gloss. These aren't available in satin, no raw tones, just all gloss without a tongue oil neck, because that's not what Dan plays. You know, it's part of the playability, you know, much like an Andy James. Now, if somebody really wants a tongue oil neck, we can do a tongue oil neck for you, but it would be non-returnable. It'd be past what the artist allotment is letting us do. Like if you had to have gold hardware, we can do that too, but it's just not going to be something that we're going to give a 10-day trial period. You know, all of our guitars for the most part come with a 10-day trial period where you get it home, get it in your environment, play it, and if you don't love it, send it back, full refund. And if you deviate beyond, you know, these other specs by calling in and you know, having my guys, you know, do some special options for you, that's when, you know, it's not going to be returnable.
What bridge types can you order with this?
Just a Floyd. Yeah, just a Floyd.
Yeah.
You know, maybe down the road we can talk about, you know, offering something else, but, you know, unless that day comes where Dan's having a need for a fixed bridge, we'll just stick with a Floyd.
Ronald is asking, can you upsize any of your body shapes?
I don't know what that means. You mean like get just a bigger version of it?
I think that's what he means.
Oh, yeah, no, that wouldn't be an option. Mm-mm. It's not like you just hit like print, like, you know, it's It might sound easy, but that's not how that works. So no.
Is there going to be a 7 or 8 string version of this?
Since Dan's not playing, I doubt an 8. But I mean, if you ever play 7s, then sure. But unless Dan has a need for a 7, then I would say no.
Yeah. Still working on 6 strings, so.
I think you're doing just fine.
What is the scale length and how many frets?
It's a 24 fret, 24 and 3/4. Stainless jumbo frets, I might add.
Jordan is asking a question for Jeff if you can recommend a decently affordable humidifier for a small room.
That I don't know, to be honest. I don't even know a brand of humidifier, to be completely honest with you. Here at the shop, we have these really large saucer-looking things hanging in several rooms in the ceiling, and a huge fan that pulls air from down below, and misters shoot out, and the fan disperses the air. So that's how we control our humidity here. And obviously, very industrial, and you wouldn't want that for your home. I don't know. I think that's a good one for maybe. Maybe Sweetwater could recommend something. I always recommend anybody that has to do something outside of what we do here at Kiesel, reach out to the guys at Sweetwater. Even I have to deal with, things outside of what we do, and that's who I deal with is Sweetwater.
Lucas is asking, what is behind the control plate on the upper wing?
Control plate on the upper wing.
You're referring to...
Oh, this guy. Oh, that's probably that? Is that what you're referring to?
That's probably what he's referring to.
Yeah.
This is the counterweight. This is used for its removal. You can actually take the back off and pull the weight out if you don't want that extra weight just for sitting at home and playing. But live, because of the shape of this body, it is very small. It can get a little bit of a neck dive, and to avoid that, you put this weight near. It's about 1.3 pounds, I would say. And that gives you that little bit of weight that you need to kind of recenter things so you can play and have it sit in a nice place and not be kind of falling over and holding your neck up.
Yeah, it sounds too like, well, why would I want my guitar to weigh more? And really, the thing is, like Dan said, you're not pulling your neck up. So think about it like this. You're trying to play and lift the guitar up. So you're going to strain your shoulder. And by having that counterweight in there, it just balances nice. So, if you want to just sit at home and noodle around and you want lighter weight to maneuver and pick up and put down, then take the weight out. 3 screws on the back plate, and there's a 1/4-20 screw or thread in there, and you just screw that in, pull the weight right out. That's it.
Dan, I've never played a Kiesel before. What would you compare it to for reference on how it feels and plays?
It feels like a Kiesel. It's hard to... It's really nice. You can feel it like when you pick up a guitar, any guitar, you go to Guitar Store or something like that, and you pick up a guitar, you can feel when you're playing something nice. Like you pick up, like you go and like, what's the really expensive one up there at the top? Can you get that down for me? And you pick up the nice guitars and you're like, wow, like you can feel the quality in comparison to like a cheap guitar that's using cheaper parts and just put together in a more, kind of machine manufactured way. It doesn't have that love and care that you get from somebody hand building guitars. It just feels like the example I like to use. It's almost like a Toyota compared to a Ferrari. It's not that there's anything wrong with Toyotas, but the quality difference between a Ferrari and the price difference and just the wow factor is just so much higher with that type of vehicle compared to a Toyota. So in this sense, it's the same kind of thing. It's a super high quality guitar. This is like pinky out, treat yourself. This is as good as it gets guitar.
I like that pinky out, treat yourself.
Rudy is asking why passive pickups for this one.
There's a lot more feel that you get when you're playing a passive pickup. It's fun to have the gain from the active pickups and stuff, but like as I've gotten older and I play more, like I start really focusing in more on the feel of the playing and not just the notes you're playing and making sure they're in time and stuff, but like how you articulate them and everything is kind of where your head starts to go and it feels really good. So I find that you get more of that. You can feel the notes a little bit better when you're bending and doing things when you have the passive pickups.
That's very well put. We're going to do one question from each platform. So I guess Brandon will pick you up, and then you guys maybe pull a good one, you and Zach and Jesse. Not that your other questions aren't good, but maybe pull something that is, a variety here.
Johnny is asking, why did you go with 24 3/4 scale length over the other options?
Well, in comparison to my old model that I had with ESP, it was only 22 fret. And, for a while, I thought that was fine. But then, having those extra 2 frets, you have 2 full scales to play over. And you have both octaves there, which it gives you more versatility. And, you're limited when you only have 22 frets, as I've come to find out more and more. So, between that and then the shorter scale length, I like because you're going to have this longer neck now, because I'm used to a shorter one, and I'm having a longer one because of the extra frets. I kind of compensate by making the scale length smaller so that it doesn't feel like this super long guitar. And the playability, I feel, is a lot easier when you have a smaller guitar as opposed to like this big long guitar that you have to really stretch your hands over and stuff.
Dan, what's your advice for guitarists who want to get good at shredding?
Well, one, you want to practice. A lot of it's, pick people that are incredible players and learn what they're doing. And using a metronome as well as breaking things down. If you're having a problem with something, like the more you can break it down into like sections and then slow it down, even learn how to play it slow. In a lot of cases, if you can't play something slow, you're not gonna be able to play it fast. Even though there's these weird situations where you can play stuff fast and then you can't play it slow. That's a whole other weird thing that you run into as well. But it does really help, when you learn something slow, especially to a metronome, because it helps you space out your notes as well as make sure that you're hitting every note in time and correctly. And then when you slowly speed things up a little bit more, then play a little faster, and you get that down, speed it up a little bit more, play a little bit faster. And next thing you know, you'll be ripping and you'll sound real clean and nice.
Alug is wondering, are we able to get these blood splatter finishes over flamed maple or other figured tops?
Yeah, I think that would be
yeah.
cool. Yeah, absolutely. And I think that was it. So that was your questions, guys. Thanks for hanging out and checking out the new DJ6C. Be sure to check out the Kiesel site. Spec your own out. See what it comes up to, and if you feel so inclined, treat yourself. Click that add to cart button, or call my guys to inquire about further customization if you can't get exactly what you want on this particular DJ6. And what was that saying you had right before we started? I was gonna kick off the live, and you did that interview.
Operation Shred.
Operation Shred out. So